Naota Nandaba is a high school boy who used to have no fun since his town was boring. On a day like any other, Naota and his friend Mamimi talk calmly on the street as they do every day. They spoke about Naota's brother and how much Mamimi had missed him since they were together. Although now Mamimi has a little sympathy for Naota, whom she sees daily and harasses constantly. While they're walking home, a speeding motorcycle hits poor Naota. Seeing what she did, the driver gets out of the vehicle, tries to revive him, and succeeds by kissing him. But right after that, she gives him a tremendous blow to the head with her bass, knocking him out for the second time. Poor Naota gets disoriented and sees how the woman and Mamimi are no longer there, hence he decides to go to his house quietly. At home, Naota realizes that a strange horn was coming out of his head where the girl had hit him. He also figured out that he could hide it by pushing it in. So he wears a bandage to cover it up when going to school. After class, Naota decides to go to the hospital to have the horn on his head checked. While he goes to the hospital, he meets the girl on the motorcycle, and she tries to talk to him. However, Naota pays no attention to her and continues on his way to the hospital. Once at the hospital, Naota meets again with a woman who followed him to try to talk to him. Finally, at his house, Naota meets the woman again, who introduces herself as Haruko, Naota's family's new maid. Naota seems quite upset by this, but he remembers he's meeting Mamimi later. When he arrives with his friend, they both have a strange conversation that causes a robot that wants to attack Mamimi to appear from Naota's head. But they're saved thanks to Haruko, who arrives to hit the robot and make it good. Seeing this, Naota realizes that his life's about to change. After the incident, Haruko reveals that she's an alien who came on a mission to destroy the medical mechanica in the city center. Naota thought the woman was delusional, though he did like her company in a way. Haruko and Kamen, Naota's father, use Kanti, the robot from Naota's head, as an errand boy around town to do household chores. Mamimi sees Kanti in a meadow and thinks that it's a god that will fulfill her wishes, and gets even more convinced when she sees Kanti fly. Mamimi goes to Naota's house and talks to him about the god she just saw. Although when Kanti shows up at Naota's home, Haruko tells him that he's not a god, just a useless robot who can't buy ice cream. However, Mamimi continued to believe that Kanti was a god. Mamimi spent her time having mystical delusions and adopted the customs of praying to god Kanti on the city's outskirts. Naota passes by when leaving school and sees her friend trying to kiss the robot. Seeing this unleashes a reaction in Naota that summons another strange robot from his head. The new robot tries to kill him, Mamimi, and Kanti. Haruko arrives to try to stop the robot, although she's no match for him. When the evil robot wants to attack them, Naota remembers his brother. His feelings cause Kanti to wake up and eat Naota, unleashing a new power. A new powerful Kanti and Haruko manage to defeat the robot. At the end of the battle, Kanti spits Naota back, and they all go to enjoy a good meal at Naota's house. Eri, one of Naota's school friends, obviously wants to have a relationship with him, but since the boy's somewhat slow, he needs to realize it. Eri has problems at home and prefers to spend her days with Naota. One day, Eri is run over by Haruko. Since her father is the city's mayor, Kamen invites her to his house to avoid any trouble. While they're having dinner, Kamen, someone quite extravagant, begins to comment about Naota, which annoys his son until he leaves the kitchen. Upon reaching his room, he meets Eri, who tries to seduce him. However, Naota decides not to act on the situation. The next day at school, they both have an argument that makes Naota so enraged that another strange robot comes out of his head and takes Eri. Naota tries to save her, though his efforts are in vain. Haruko appears, tries to finish off the robot, and manages to weaken it until Kanti arrives. He eats Naota to save the day once again. The days go by, and Haruko tries playing baseball with Naota. However, he's terrible, and Haruko decides to teach him how to hit. At first, he refuses, but ends up accepting thanks to Haruko using her powers to manipulate his mind, letting her train him. The next day, Naota comes home and sees her father and Haruko affectionately in the living room. A moody Naota leaves the house, jealous and upset with Haruko. He arrives at a store where he meets Amurao, a space migration investigator. Amurao tells him Haruko's story and that the alien's only using him to get the Pirate King power in medical mechanica. Amurao tells Naota to stay away from her and not to believe anything she says because she doesn't care about Naota, just her benefit. Arriving home, Naota learns that due to Haruko's presence on Earth, an asteroid's about to hit the city. To stop him, Haruko and Naota go to the tallest tower in the town, where Haruko pulls a guitar out of Naota's head so he can hit the asteroid and stop it. Haruko gives the guitar to Naota and leaves. As the asteroid's about to collide with Naota, he lands a blow that contains the threat dead in its tracks. However, it's not enough to deflect it. Still, Haruko returns to help Naota, and they manage to deflect the asteroid, saving the city. The day begins with Naota and Kalman fighting for Haruko's love since they both want to be with her. Without knowing it, a member of Medical Mechanical is spying on them to finish off Kanti. However, Haruko discovers and attacks her, kicking her off. As for the fight between father and son, no one wins because poor Naota gets run over again, and he can't defeat his father. In the afternoon, Naota and Mamimi are talking. Naota decides to confess his feelings to Mamimi, so he plans to take her to a special place to tell her. Meanwhile, on another side of town, Amuro and Haruko have a fight where Haruko wins and gains information about the Pirate King's power. On the other hand, Naota and Mamimi talk about the confession to Mamimi. When she hears Naota, she rejects him immediately, which causes another giant robot to come out of Naota's head to destroy the city. Haruko goes to save the day, but Naota calls Kanti to pilot it and helps Haruko deal with the robot. After a great battle, both defeat the robot, falling near the medical mechanics factory and leaving the remains of her robotic hand near the company. Haruko disappears after the battle against the last enemy, and Naota misses her. He spends many days trying to assimilate why she left. He even talks to Amuro, who says she only wants to use him to get the Pirate King's power. Amuro tells Naota she won't return and to forget about her once and for all. Meanwhile, Mamimi finds a small robot she adopts and feeds with metal on the city outskirts. When she realizes it grows every time it eats, she takes it around, giving him metal, trying to get it to eat Haruko's Vespa. After many days without seeing Haruko, Naota arrives home and finds Haruko in his living room. Naota screams and recriminates her, but tells Haruko he wants to run away with her. Haruko accepts and they both wander the world for a few days. On the other hand, Mamimi's robot constantly grows until it becomes giant. The danger alerts Amuro as he watches the robot head towards the company. Seeing him, he realizes the robot's part of the source of unleashing the Pirate King's power and tries to stop it. Haruko and Naota find out what's happening and rush the factory to stop the robot. However, Haruko reveals to Naota that she's only using him, but Naota doesn't seem to care. Amuro tries to convince him not to join the Corps. Still, Naota gets in anyway and ends up completing the Union to obtain the Pirate King's power. Suddenly, Kanti appears, and Naota comes out of his head full of power to attack Haruko. After an intense fight that the boy seems to win, he ends up kissing Haruko and expelling all of the energy he has. When everything explodes, Haruko and Naota say goodbye to each other. She'd continued to seek the Pirate King's power that had spread throughout the galaxy, and Naota would stay to live his everyday life. And that was FLCL Season 1 Recap. If you enjoyed this recap, remember to hit that sub, click the like button, and comment down below to let me know what you think of the series. I'll see you in the next video.